My name is Emma, and my own mother told me there wasn't enough room at the table for Thanksgiving. Then posted a packed feast online with "Family is everything." I didn't beg. I built a bigger table and made sure the right people sat at it. Share your similar experience in the comments. I left work early Wednesday and swung by the Costco. My list was basic: cranberry sauce, rolls, disposable pans, and a sad bouquet I planned to stick on my mom's counter. The turkey was already at my Midtown apartment, soaking in brine for a week in a storage tub that took over my fridge. I'd been bragging to myself all week that I was finally bringing something worth showing up with. Back home, the oven warmed up, the timer beeped, and my phone sat next to the baster. I called my mom to confirm what time she wanted me in Marietta. No answer. A text came through instead. My mom texted me, "The table this year is only big enough for close family," even though I'd spent the whole week getting a turkey ready because I thought I was coming home. Callback happened on pure instinct. She answered immediately, like she'd been staring at the screen. "Emma," she said. Someone laughed in the background. Dishes clinked. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means don't make a big thing out of it." "So I'm not invited?" "Stop." Her voice had that bright, tight edge. "I'm trying to keep it simple." "Simple would be telling me before I cooked for you." A pause. Then, softer, like she was talking to somebody else. "She's doing it again." Back to me. "I have to go." The call ended. 12 seconds on the timer. The family group chat was already moving. From my sister Lily's account, "Emma's busy this year, sadly. Wish she could make it." Lily never typed like that. I wrote, "Lily, are you with Mom?" A minute later, she replied with one emoji. The turkey came out anyway. Foil, towels, oven mitts. I slid the pan into the passenger seat and drove north with the car smelling like butter and sage. Mom Street had extra cars lined up, which was funny given the not enough room situation. At her front door, the keypad blinked. My code didn't work. Tried again. Red light. I knocked. The curtain by the window trembled, just enough to tell me someone was there. Through the glass, my mom stood in the kitchen with her phone in her hand, eyes on me. She made a small shooing motion, like I was a delivery she didn't order. The doorbell's little red light flickered once, then went dark. Another text popped up. "Don't come." Neighbors are parked everywhere. HOA will fine me. 4:30. A wooden sign above the porch said, "Welcome." Holding that hot pan against my ribs like a baby, I muttered, "Yeah, welcome. Except me." I turned back to the car, opened the door with my elbow, and my phone buzzed again. My mom had posted a photo of a full table, Lily smiling beside Karen and Dave from next door, captioned, "Family is everything." When I tapped her story, it said it wasn't available. By the time I got back to Midtown, the apartment smelled like poultry defeat. I scraped the pan, wrapped the meat, and shoved it into the fridge like evidence. Then I washed my hands, changed my shirt, and answered none of the messages stacking up. Thursday morning, I walked into the office with my hair still damp and the faintest hint of roasted smoke clinging to my coat. A coworker in the elevator smiled the way people do when they're fishing for normal. "How was Thanksgiving?" he asked. "Fine," I said, "uneventful." He nodded, relieved, and got off on his floor like he'd completed a small civic duty. By mid-morning, my phone lit up with family numbers I hadn't seen in months. Not calls, texts, the kind that land like gossip. My Aunt Denise wrote, "Why would you do that to your mother?" Before I could answer, Lily sent, "Mom cried all night. Just apologize." Another cousin, who never asks how I'm doing, added, "Don't ruin the holidays for everyone." My thumbs hovered over the keyboard. The truth wouldn't fit in a bubble without sounding like a courtroom transcript, so the screen stayed blank. Right after lunch, my boss's assistant, Jordan, leaned into my doorway and kept his voice low. "Hey, quick heads up," he said. "Someone called and complained about you. Said you were unstable." "Who?" I asked. He lifted a shoulder. "No name, just wanted it on record. HR wants a quick check-in." HR sat me across from a woman named Beth, who spoke in the same tone people use with a customer service line. "This isn't disciplinary," she said. "We're just documenting a concern." "What concern?" I asked. Beth slid a notepad closer. "That you showed up at a family member's home and became agitated." "I showed up with food," I said. Beth wrote something anyway. When I stepped out, Marisol Vega was waiting by the copier with 2 coffees, like she'd timed it. "You okay?" she asked. "I'm documented," I said. Marisol handed me a cup. "You don't have to win with feelings. Win with what they can't bend. Logs." "I don't have logs," I said. "You will," she replied, already pulling her phone out. At my desk, Marisol watched while I called the security company my mom used for the front door. The rep asked for the address, then the last 4 of the billing card. Mine, because I'd set it up years ago when Mom said apps were too complicated. A few taps on his end. "Our records show the doorbell device was disabled from the app at 4:29 p.m. yesterday," he said. "So it didn't lose service," I said. "No, ma'am, it was turned off." "By who?" A pause, then. "The administrator account. Trish Watson." Marisol didn't smile. She just held up my mom's post on her screen, the one with the long table and the "family is everything" caption. "So the table was too small," she said, "but it expands for righteousness. That's impressive carpentry." "It was never about space," I said. "Of course not," Marisol replied. "It's about who gets to edit the story." She leaned on the edge of my desk. "Next week is the investor meeting," Marisol said. "If HR tags you as a behavior issue, they can pull you off the project without blinking." "They already wrote something," I said. "Then you answer with facts," she said. "Not a paragraph, not a plea, dates and screenshots." My inbox pinged. Subject line, HR check-in summary. Beth had attached a PDF and a line about reported disturbance at a relative's residence. The attachment opened with my name at the top like a warning label. Marisol watched me scroll once, then stop. My cursor drifted to reply, and my finger hovered over the trackpad while my other hand reached for my phone. Instead of typing, I forwarded the HR summary to Marisol and walked out before anyone could ask if I was okay. We met the next morning at a coffee shop downtown, 2 blocks from a title company Marisol used for closings. She slid into the booth with her laptop already open. "Tell me you didn't send your mom a novel," she said. "No novel," I said. "Just silence and receipts." "Good." Silence terrifies manipulators. A barista called my name. While I stirred cream, Marisol pulled up my family group chat and the HR email side by side. "Your mother's story has paperwork now," she said. "So we need better paperwork." The security rep had emailed me the activity log for the doorbell unit. It showed the shutdown at 4:29 p.m., triggered from the admin account. Marisol nodded once, like she'd expected it. "What about Lily's message?" she asked. I showed her the screenshot. "Emma's busy this year, sadly." Marisol zoomed in on the punctuation. "That's not your sister," she said. "That's your mom pretending to be your sister." "I know," I said, "but proving it is the problem." Marisol pointed to the title company across the street. "They keep metadata on file transfers," she said. "If your mom used Lily's email for anything official, it'll leave fingerprints." A friend at the title office owed Marisol a favor. 15 minutes later, an email hit my inbox, a forwarded message that had gone out to half my relatives from Lily's address. "Emma couldn't make it. Please don't ask questions. You'll upset Mom." Under it, the header details listed the sending device, Trish's iPad, same Wi-Fi name as my mom's house, same timestamp as the busiest year lie. Marisol tapped the screen. "There it is," she said. "She didn't just uninvite you. She pre-wrote your absence." My phone buzzed before I could reply. Mom, of course. "Don't drag your sister into this," Trish texted. "I'm trying to keep the family peaceful." A second message followed, an image of a cropped text thread. In her version, my words read like I'd called her pathetic and selfish. The rest of the conversation was missing. Marisol didn't blink. "Classic," she said. She edits you into the villain so she can play the martyr. I drove to Marietta after work, not because it was smart, but because Lily was the only person who could confirm what device Mom kept charging. Lily's car sat in the driveway, nose out like she might bolt. She opened the door a crack. "Emma, don't," she whispered. 5 minutes, I said. I just need to see the iPad. Lily's eyes flicked toward the kitchen. "Mom makes me hand it over every night," she said. "She says it's so I don't lose it." "That's not losing it," I said. "That's confiscating it." Lily let me in, then hovered by the counter like she was waiting for permission to breathe. The iPad sat on a stool with the charging cable coiled like a leash. "Can I just check the sent folder?" I asked. Lily hesitated, then nodded, and my hand reached for it. A door behind us opened hard. "What are you doing?" Trish's voice filled the room. She crossed the tile fast, grabbed the iPad from my fingers, and held it against her chest. "Are you rummaging through my things now?" she said, loud enough for the neighborhood. Through the window, Karen from next door turned her head like she'd been summoned. Trish stared at the small paper bag in my other hand, the one with the security company's printed receipt. "Everything has to be documents with you," she said. "You're cold. No heart." The words landed, but the bag stayed steady. "Yep," I said. "Paper doesn't change its story." Trish's mouth tightened. She stepped outside onto the porch and raised her phone. "My daughter is causing a scene," she said, speaking into it. "I feel threatened." Blue lights bounced across the mailbox as an officer walked up the driveway and stopped a few feet from me. His partner stayed by the patrol car, one hand resting near his belt. Trish stood on the porch behind them, arm locked around Lily's shoulders like she was shielding a child. Lily didn't look at me. "Ma'am," the first officer said, "are you Emma Watson?" "Yes," I said. "Are you here with permission to be on this property?" Trish answered for me. "She's trespassing," she said, loud enough for Karen next door to hear. "Mom," I said, keeping my voice even, "I came to talk to Lily." The officer held up a palm. "Ma'am," he said, "I'm asking you." "No," I said. "I was let in by my sister." Trish tightened her grip on Lily. "She's scared," Trish told the officer. "She's been harassing me since yesterday." Lily flinched at the word harassing, but she didn't correct it. "Okay," the officer said. "We're going to de-escalate this. Emma, I need you to leave the property now." "I'll go," I said. "Can Lily just tell them she didn't write that email?" Trish snapped. "Don't put her in the middle," she said. The officer glanced between us. "Ma'am," he said, "if you refuse to leave, you can be cited." I stepped backward toward the driveway, hands visible. Karen had made it to her yard by then, holding her phone at chest level as if she might need it for the neighborhood group. "Trish just wants peace," Karen said, like she was reading off a script. Trish nodded hard. "And the HOA is strict," she added, as if that explained everything. The officer asked for my ID. He wrote my name down and handed me a printed form. "This is a trespass warning," he said. "It means you can't return to this address unless you are invited. If you come back, you can be arrested for criminal trespass." Trish watched me sign like she was waiting for the right second to snap a photo. "Do you understand?" the officer asked. "Yes," I said. He walked me to my car, waited until I started it, then stepped away. Trish stayed on the porch with Lily, already tapping her screen. By the time I got back to Midtown, my boss had emailed a brief meeting request. HR was on the invite. The call lasted 9 minutes. Nobody said my mom's name. "We received a concern," Beth from HR said, "a report of a domestic disturbance." "It wasn't a disturbance," I said. "It was my mother calling the police because she didn't like what I asked." "We just need to note it," Beth said. "Given next week's investor meeting, leadership is recommending you sit out this one." Jordan texted right after. "I'm sorry, not my call." My phone buzzed with Denise. "See, you were right to be removed." Then a new message arrived from Trish. A photo of the signed warning held up like a trophy. Caption, "I had no choice." Marisol met me in the hallway after the call. She didn't try to soothe it. She opened her laptop on a bench and made a list. Doorbell activity log, email headers, Call times. HR invite. She doesn't have to be right, Marisol said. She only needs other people to believe she is. And they do, I said. Not all of them, she replied. But you still don't have the thing that shuts her up. Dusk found me parked outside the office garage, laptop balanced on my knees. A new folder appeared on my desktop. Thanksgiving, Evidence. I clicked New and typed the title again in the directory bar. My phone started ringing from Mom, and I let it vibrate while dragging the call log into Notes. The first line formed under my cursor. 4:29 p.m. Doorbell disabled from admin account. Voicemail played through the speaker, tinny and too cheerful for what it was. "Emma, honey, I'm worried about you," my mother said. "You showed up screaming. Lily's shaking. Please get help. Call me when you're calm." She hung up with a little sigh like she'd just finished a prayer. The next morning, my calendar still showed investor prep, 9 a.m. I walked into my boss's office anyway, folder under my arm, HR summary printed because apparently I was that person now. Gavin didn't offer a seat. "Emma, we're going to pause your involvement on the Baxter pitch," he said. "Baxter is next week," I said. "Correct." Beth from HR sat in the corner, hands folded, eyes on her laptop. Gavin kept his voice level. "We can't bring family risk to that table." "Family risk," I repeated. He nodded once. "Perception matters. Until this settles, you'll support from the back end." "What does that mean?" "It means you won't be in the room." Beth added, "This is temporary." Temporary sounded like a word you say when you don't want someone to argue. No yelling happened, no dramatic exit. A nod, a understood, and a walk back to my desk. The weird part was how normal my hands looked while they packed my things. Notebook, charger, the little plant someone had given me as a joke because I never water anything. Jordan passed by and didn't meet my eyes. Jordan doubled back a minute later with my access badge in his hand, like it might bite him. "Hey," he said, "Gavin wants the client deck moved to Marisol, just for now." "Anything else?" He swallowed. "If you want to respond to HR, keep it short." Then he vanished down the hall without waiting for answers. At the elevator, my phone buzzed again. A text from Lily. "Mom's still crying. Please just say sorry." Another from Aunt Denise. "You were right to be removed. You need boundaries. Stop attacking your mother." Boundaries. From the people who only discovered the word when it fit my mom. Down in the garage, the car door shut with a soft click. The glove box held the trespass warning, folded into thirds. I pulled it out and smoothed it on my lap like it was a contract I'd accidentally signed. My name sat there in black ink, next to a police badge number, next to an address I'd spent half my life walking into without knocking. The paper didn't say I was wrong. It didn't say my mom was right. It just said she'd gone first and gotten it stamped. Marisol called. "Where are you?" she asked. "Garage." "Stay there. I'm coming down." She showed up with 2 waters and a manila envelope like she'd been born holding documents. Marisol didn't touch my shoulder or tell me it would be okay. She sat in the passenger seat and opened the envelope. "You see the pattern now?" she asked. "She makes other people witnesses," I said, surprising myself with how fast it came out. Marisol nodded. "She doesn't need truth. She needs a crowd." The folder of screenshots went onto my console. Doorbell activity, the forwarded email with headers, HR's summary. Marisol slid one more sheet on top, a printout from the security account. "Look at the admin history," she said. A second email address appeared, added for 8 minutes, then removed. Not Lily. Not my mom. "Who is that?" I asked. "That's what we find out," Marisol said. "But it tells you something. She's not doing this alone, and she's careful." My phone lit up again. Mom. Mom again. Then a voicemail icon. Marisol watched the screen. "If you want to win," she said, "you pay a price. She'll cry. She'll recruit. She'll call you cruel. She'll wave relatives like shields." A breath went out, slow, and my hands moved to my planner. 2 blocks of time got circled in red. Thanksgiving, 4:30 p.m., and Baxter, rescheduled. The cursor on my phone hovered over forward. Internal counsel replied within an hour and scheduled a meeting downtown. Marisol offered to come, but the email said employee only. The lobby guard checked my badge and waved me to an elevator. Sonia Patel met me on the 12th floor with a legal pad and no small talk. Emma Watson? Yes. Sit. She slid a printed email across the table. The sender line was a string of letters, not a name. This went to HR and the board distribution list, she said. Anonymous? Anonymized, Sonia corrected. Different thing. The email claimed I was volatile, that I'd shown up at a relative's home, and that the company was exposed. Attached were 2 screenshots. One showed a message thread where my words looked vicious. The other was a photo of the trespass warning, my signature circled in red. My mother took that picture, I said. Sonia nodded once. We assumed a family source. So you know it's her. Knowing isn't proving. Sonia tapped the header printout. They used a privacy relay. No direct address, no easy subpoena. Marisol had told me not to expect anything from lawyers, and Sonia delivered on schedule. She flipped to the next page. But whoever sent it also copied language from a brokerage firm's template. What does that mean? Sonia turned her screen toward me. The footer formatting matched a marketing email I'd seen during a past deal. Same disclaimer, same typo. This office worked with Trish Watson on a rental property transaction 2 years ago, she said. My throat tightened, but the words stayed plain. My mom knows an investment office. More than knows. Sonia pointed at the admin history from my doorbell account. You flagged a secondary admin email. That address belongs to an employee at that brokerage. My hands stayed on my knees. So she gave them access. Or they offered it. Sonia didn't shrug. She just wrote a note. Either way, your mother is building a record, not just with family, with institutions. She said the table was too small, I said. That phrase is useful, Sonia replied. It makes you the one who overreacted. Sonia slid the doorbell log beside the trespass warning photo. Turning off the doorbell unit removes a neutral witness, she said. The warning provides the neutral document. Together, they tell a clean story. You were unstable. She was afraid. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Lily. Her text read, "Please don't do this. I don't remember who sent anything. Mom says you're trying to destroy us." Another message followed from Aunt Denise. "Don't sue your own mother. You'll regret it." Sonia watched me set the phone face down. "There's more," she said. She pulled out a court notice printout. "Your mother filed for a protective order. Temporary hearing requested." Based on what? The trespass warning and a neighbor's statement. Sonia looked at the name. Karen H. says you threatened Trish. Karen wasn't even in the house. She was in the yard, Sonia said. That counts for her version. Marisol's number flashed next. I declined it and kept listening. Sonia's voice stayed level. If the court grants even a limited order, any contact could become a violation. Including texts? Including driving by, she said. And if you violate it, the company will have to consider whether you're a liability. So what do I do? Sonia folded her hands. You stop meeting this on your mother's stage. You document through us. You do not show up at her home. You do not argue with relatives. You let paper carry the weight. A faint laugh escaped me, more air than humor. She'll love that. Paper is her favorite weapon now. Sonia didn't smile. Use it better. She handed me a checklist. Preserve messages, request device logs, file a response to the petition. We can't fight family drama, she said. We can fight false statements that affect your employment. The meeting ended with a handshake that felt like a formality for people who don't do hugs. Outside the building, December air hit my face. My mother's name flashed on the screen again. Emma, please stop, my mother said in the voicemail, voice soft, like she was talking to a therapist. I'm doing everything I can to keep this family together. You're making me look like a monster. The next few months turned into meetings with people who wore calm faces and used careful words. Sonia kept everything in writing. I kept my distance. Lily stayed vague. "Tell the truth," I texted her once. "Emma, I don't remember," she replied. "Please don't make me choose." The protective order request didn't become the weapon my mom wanted, but it did its job. It made everyone treat me like a risk. So I stopped trying to be understood by people who preferred a simpler villain. Work got quieter in a different way. No more client-facing meetings. No more rooms where charm mattered. Gavin kept me employed and kept me tucked away. "Back-end support is still support," he said, like he was doing me a favor. Marisol didn't pep talk. She handed me new assignments and watched what I did with them. "Show me you can't be replaced," she said. "Not because you're lovable, because you're useful." So the hours stacked. Deals that were ugly became my territory. I moved from team to team, then into projects nobody wanted because they came with liens, tenant fights, and spreadsheets that made grown men sweat. Contracts got cleaner, mistakes got rarer. People started forwarding problems to me with one line: "Emma will fix it." When the company joined an acquisition group 2 years later, my name was already in the room, even if my chair stayed near the wall. Sonia sat in those meetings too, and Marisol ran interference with the press. One Friday morning, a board member asked a question that sounded like a compliment, but wasn't. "Can you run this place without turning it into a headline?" Marisol answered for me. "She's the reason you don't have headlines now." The vote happened in a conference room with bad coffee and good suits. After the papers were signed, the chair of the board shook my hand. "Congratulations, Emma," he said. CEO. The acquisition included assets nobody had looked at closely because they were too busy celebrating numbers. One of them was a Buckhead estate valued at $6 million, sitting behind gates like it had been waiting for a purpose. Thanksgiving rolled around again, and Marisol showed up at my office with a clipboard. "If you're going to host," she said, "do it right. Guest list, check-in, no improvising." "It's dinner," I said. "It's your mother," she replied. "That makes it an event." Invitations went out to people my mom had treated like stains on her social life. The neighbor down the street who'd lost her husband and got ignored afterward. My old friend from high school my mom called a bad influence. The aunt my mom cut off and then pretended never existed. Some were surprised I remembered. Some cried on the phone and apologized for not calling sooner. Nobody asked for an explanation. They just asked what they could bring. A local reporter reached out after a community organizer posted about it. Marisol approved the interview on the condition it stayed focused. "No family drama," she told the reporter. "This is about inclusion." On Thanksgiving afternoon, staff handled the driveway check-in under a tent. Names got highlighted. Coats got tagged. People laughed like they couldn't believe they were allowed to relax. Then my phone started vibrating in a familiar pattern. Mom. Mom again. Unknown number. Mom again. Security radioed up from the gate. "Ms. Watson, there's a woman here claiming she's your mother. She's insisting she's family." I walked down to the entry with Marisol and a company attorney who'd come as a guest and stayed as insurance. My mother stood at the fence in a dress meant for church, Lily beside her with her eyes on the ground. Trish pressed her hand to her chest. "Emma, please," she said. "It's Thanksgiving." The security lead kept his tone polite. "Ma'am, you're not on the guest list." "I shouldn't have to be," Trish snapped. "I'm her mother." I nodded at the check-in tablet. "Mark that she arrived," I said to security, "and note she's not invited." Trish's face tightened. "So you're doing this," she said louder. "You're punishing me. This is revenge." Marisol didn't move. The attorney didn't speak. Lily finally glanced up, then away. Trish pointed toward the house, where voices drifted from the dining room. "Family is everything," she said. "Right," I said even. "That's why I invited family." She opened her mouth, but I didn't argue. My phone came out. 3 files were already saved. The admin log showing her account disabling the doorbell, the header metadata proving she sent emails from Lily's address, and the anonymized complaint that traced back to her brokerage contact. The screen went to Marisol, then to the attorney, then to the security lead. Trish saw their expressions change and realized denial required details she couldn't afford. "Emma," she whispered, voice cracking on command. Security opened the side gate and stepped between us. "Ma'am, you need to leave." The toast finished and the room loosened. Plates clinked, someone asked for more gravy, and my phone stayed face down in my pocket. Marisol caught my eye from the end of the table and lifted her glass like a reminder. Stay present. After dessert, the reporter thanked me, shook my hand, and left without asking about my mother. That was Marisol's doing. She walked her to the door, smiling the smile she uses when she's closing a deal. The next morning, my assistant forwarded a link with the subject line, "You're trending locally." The article headline read, "Young Millionaire Hosts Compassionate Thanksgiving Feast." It listed the guests, the community organizer, and the food pantry we partnered with. The writer called the night an antidote to loneliness. No mention of fences, no mention of Trish. My mother's neighborhood noticed anyway. A cousin texted a screenshot from a Facebook group I wasn't in. Karen had posted about a family situation and gotten exactly one comment, a thumbs up from someone who usually writes essays. Karen didn't follow up. She went silent. At the next neighborhood open house, my mom's usual comment section looked deserted. A realtor I knew said Trish tried to introduce herself as Emma's mother and got polite smiles, then quick exits. Even her church friends stopped returning calls for a week. Denise called once and let it ring twice before hanging up. Lily sent a message that wasn't an apology and wasn't a defense. "Are you mad at me?" The only answer that went back was logistics. "Do you want to talk without Mom on the line?" A few minutes later, "I can't." She checks my phone. So I set a different channel. A new email address went to Lily with one line. "Use this if you ever need me." Marisol showed up at the office with a stack of printouts and a pen. "House rules," she said. "Write them like you mean them." A one-page document became two. No entry without a name on the list. No surprises at the gate. Any calls from Trish get logged and forwarded to counsel. Staff never argues, never negotiates. My phone sat on the desk while we worked. Marisol watched me open settings, tap a few options, and turn unknown callers to silence. Trish's contact got moved into a category called Do Not Engage. It felt clinical, which was the point. A locksmith came that afternoon. The old key set went into an envelope, sealed, and handed to me. The security vendor updated the system so only my account could add or remove access. The technician asked for the prior administrator's name. "Just remove it," I said. He nodded, typed, and didn't ask questions. At work, Sonia sent a short note. The anonymous complaint was contained, the board satisfied, no further action required unless my mother escalated. The message ended with a line I'd come to appreciate. Do not respond directly. Trish tried anyway. First, a voicemail that sounded like church. "Emma, this isn't who you are." Then a text that sounded like a bill. "You embarrassed me." Then a call at 7:12 p.m. on a Tuesday, right as I was reviewing a lease packet in my kitchen. The phone rang twice, 3 times, then switched to voicemail because of the setting. A minute later, another call came through from a number with no name. That one I answered. "Hello?" Her breath hit the mic. "It's me," Trish said. "Don't hang up." "What do you want?" I need to know," she said. "Next year, is there going to be room for me?" No shouting happened, no speech. A pause, then the only sentence that fit. "This year, the table is only big enough for real family." Silence. A swallow. Then her voice turned thin. "So you're cutting me off." "I'm eating dinner," I said, and ended the call. The dining room was still set from the weekend event, but the chairs were back in their usual places. One extra folding chair leaned against the wall, left from overflow. I carried it to the storage closet, slid it onto the rack, and kept my hand on the metal frame as it settled.